Rom is an associate professor of government and public policy at Georgetown University, and he joins us now live from Washington. Thanks so much for being with us. First, let's address this early voting turnout of, 70 million people. What does it say to you about how Americans actually feel about this election?
Well, Americans are quite passionate about this election. Huge surge in early voting, really unprecedented. They're doing this for two reasons. One is that they care a lot about who wins. Trump supporters love him. Biden supporters are desperate to drive Trump out of office. And because of the COVID-19 pandemic, people are scared about the possibility of not having their votes count or not being able to go to the polls on election day. So they're voting early, and they're voting in large masses.
Right. I got to say, I feel like every time there's an election, candidates will say this is the most important election of our lifetimes. And we're hearing that again, of course, in 2020. But do you think this time it's true?
Oh, I believe that it's definitely true. For Trump's part, he claims that Biden will lead to a total destruction of the economy and a widespread lockdown of the economy. Both these claims almost certainly untrue. But on Biden's behalf, he believes that the Trump administration is doing very much to destabilize American institutions, to degrade democracy, and not to care for the most pressing concerns of the American people, especially their health and welfare. The Biden supporters are desperate to drive Trump out of office. They believe that unless they do, America's democracy will be under siege.
Right. Let me ask you more of a technical question. On Election Day, given how many people have, already voted early or sent in their ballots, how do you expect the results actually to be announced? Because it won't be that, big tally that we usually see on that Tuesday. It'll be coming in drips, really, from weeks before. So will we be able to find out relatively early if there's a winner?
There's only one circumstance we'll be able to find out if there's a winner on election night. And that circumstance is that if Biden's victory is so overwhelming that Trump can't plausibly claim to wait for more votes to come in. I don't think that's likely to happen. So many people have voted early, and so many states prohibit the processing and counting of those ballots until election day. It's almost certain that a lot of the swing states are not going to have the results by the time that we need to go to bed on election night.
Okay. I want to ask you this. This is a separate front. As for the campaign right now, we are seeing, of course, candidates pour all their energy into those, swing states. And I want to ask you if maybe, especially if a Democrat is elected, will we see efforts to actually change that kind of antiquated electoral college system, which gives disproportionate weight to voters in those swing states? Because now in the past, 2 decades, we've seen it unfairly represent a majority of Americans. We've seen 2 presidents now lose the popular vote, but still win the election. Do you think it might change this time?
So the Electoral College is not working out in the way that the framers originally intended to. It's not a group of wise individuals carefully selecting our president. It's become extremely anti-majoritarian, that the smaller, more conservative states have really, in many ways, a vast amount of power, more than they should have based on their population. But it's almost impossible to get rid of the Electoral College directly. To do so, we would have to amend the Constitution. That would require the consent of the states who benefit the most from the Electoral College. So that's unlikely to happen. However, a number of states have passed legislation that say we will give all our electoral votes to the person who wins the popular votes. Now, if enough states do that, then the person with the popular votes will also win the Electoral College. But again, it's going to require some states that benefit from the current system to change their minds and seek a change.
That probably won't work, given how politics play. Okay, Carol Rom, thank you so much for being with us from Washington. We really appreciate it.